Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Online, we have a special guest. His name is Martin Schonberg. Of what I know from him, it's a very little. I know that he has been working in Europe. He has been working in South Africa. And now he is working in Jerusalem at the Jerusalem Ballet Company and Jerusalem Ballet School with Mrs. Nadya Timofeyeva. So, welcome online, Mr. Martin. May I call you Martin directly?
Please do. Lovely to be with you.
Okay. So, welcome online. I'm very happy and honored to have you online today. You are in Jerusalem at this moment?
That's correct.
Yes. And what time is it in Jerusalem now?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's around 6.
Something, yes. So you are ahead from me of 1 hour because I am in Rome. So, Martin, how did you start loving the art of ballet, and in which country did you start ballet?
Well, I was born in Johannesburg, South Africa, and at the age of 4, I decided I wanted to do ballet. So I asked my parents, and they said next year. So the next year I asked again, and they said next year. And then the next year I asked again. Finally, I was 9 years old, and I found a ballet teacher. I enrolled, and I arrived at home with the account.
Yes. And
so it was really...
Was that in Johannesburg?
Yes, yes. I was born in Johannesburg, and then we moved to a suburb outside of Johannesburg, and that's we moved when I was around 10, and then I moved back to Johannesburg. Yes.
Yeah. So you completed your dance study in Johannesburg, and then did you start your professional career also as a professional dancer?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit, my ballet teacher, I had a private ballet studio. Her name is Joy Cooper, and I learned in the Chiquetti method with her. And then I went to the Johannesburg School of Art, Ballet and Music. And I attended classical ballet department there for 5 years. I did my high school as well as training. While I was doing ballet, I was also doing Spanish dancing. I started ballet and Spanish at the same time, classical, Greek, contemporary. My big passion other than that is always horse riding, so I was riding horses as well. So I was pretty busy, hyperactive.
Yes. So, and for how many years did you study with this exceptional ballet teacher who gave you the class, and then you changed teacher?
Well, I completed my training, my Chiquetti training. I started right at the beginning, and then I got my associate and advanced Chiquetti with her. And I never left her, I just graduated. So then after that point, I went to a place called the University of Cape Town, UCT, for a short amount of time. I didn't spend much time there. Didn't work out for me. I was already qualified in all the exams they were busy working on. At the age of 16, I'd already got my Chiquetti associate. So I was already teaching very young. At that point, I went to Madame in Monte Carlo. And I stayed there for the rest of that year. And the story is quite funny, but it's true. I came back from the Christmas holidays, and it was the New Year, and Marika said to me, "You must go and audition." And I said, "Madame, I'm not ready to audition." She says, if you're not ready to audition, you must leave. You must go audition. Everybody must audition, and you must go now. So I auditioned and I got a few jobs and I started working. I wasn't ready to work. I wasn't ready emotionally.
Yeah.
But she obviously thought it was time for me to go, so I did.
And how was Marika Brzobrazova? How was she as a teacher, as a director?
Oh, she was a tough lady. Tough lady, tough lady. She had those steel gray eyes, and everybody had a different experience with her.
Yeah.
And some people talk about her quite lovingly. I never met that side, but it's okay. I worked hard, I respected her, and I was in a class of very hard-working dancers. We all pushed each other ruthlessly, but there was a friendly competition.
Yeah.
And it set me up nicely for a career. I understood very quickly that we can smile nicely, but we have to sweat hard.
And how many hours were you doing class per day with Marika Brzobrazova?
Well, we had to go into the room of warm-up early in the morning and do our own exercises.
Yeah.
So we were usually there between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning doing our warm-up. And then we were there all day, sometimes up until 8 o'clock at night. It was a long day, and we used to have at least 2 ballet classes a day, and then we had contemporary, and we even did Kathak. We also did Indian classes and improvisation.
Yeah.
So it was a full day.
Yes. So you were completing your day and you were completely exhausted, probably.
Yes, yes. But that was nothing, because in South Africa, I used to start working every morning at 5 a.m. until 7 a.m. on my own in the studio.
Yes.
And then I was dancing 9:30 at night, and then go home, do your homework, and repeat again.
Yeah.
It was pretty standard for us.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 70s. I graduated in the 80s,
Yeah.
1980s. So it was a time that, you know, work and standard was very high.
Yeah.
We had a ballet company first of all in Johannesburg, and it was based in Johannesburg. And I remember being part of those productions. I was a very young child doing Sleeping Beauty and Coppelia with Denise Schultz. She was the director at that time. And then it moved, it went to Pretoria. But the standard was, it was a good standard. People worked hard. Nobody expected to progress without a work ethic and talent.
Yeah. So you have been dancing at the Civic Theatre in Johannesburg?
As a child, yes, yes. I was in the production Sleeping Beauty with a wonderful group of ladies. There was Faye Daniel, there was Makarova came and guested that season as well. And so there were lots of exciting things happening.
So you probably met Maxine Denis?
Yes, of course. She was a ballerina at that time and later on became a very dear friend.
Yes.
And she was a journalist. She became a journalist, and she used to come and review my performances all the time. And she was a very knowledgeable woman.
Yes, yes, she had a great knowledge, and she was a wonderful person. And
Yes.
I really remember her, and I cherish her dance a lot, because I have been dancing with Pact Ballet from 1980 to 1982. And also next to Maxime Denis, there were wonderful people, many other principal dancers, and it was a wonderful ballet company at that time. I really loved the atmosphere that that I found in South Africa, and so this is why I named all that, because I understand what you are saying. You had also some special time dancing with Pact Ballet or in other productions.
Well, I wasn't dancing, I was a child, so it was like the page in the production.
Yes.
I never danced professionally with a company. However, I danced professionally for 10 years in Europe. But every summer holiday, I'd go back and take classes to keep in shape. I grew up with everyone in the company, so it was like going home to a family. So I have happy memories of those summer holidays, but I never actually performed professionally in South Africa.
Yes. So from South Africa, then you moved where? To France or to Belgium?
Well, first I went to Marika Bessa in Monte Carlo.
Yes.
And then I got a job with Jean Brabants in the Royal Ballet of Flanders in Antwerp. And I was very, very blessed to meet her, to work with her. She was a very special woman, and I was very happy working there. I did lots and lots of interesting new ballets as well as old ballets, and she appreciated me and I appreciated her. And I had a number of ballets created on me, which was a huge honor and joy. And we did all sorts of choreographers. We did from Ashton to Killian to Agnes de Mille to Balanchine to Jean Brabants herself. We did John Cohen, we did Butler, we did everything. And the variety of the repertoire is what really excited me. I never wanted to be in a repertory company. I didn't want to do just the petit pas 3-act ballets. I never wanted that. I was stimulated by being involved in creations. And I loved that process.
Yes. So you have been dancing in Europe for nearly 10 years.
Yes. After being in Antwerp, in the Royal Ballet of Flanders, I spent 7 months in Ballet Royal de Wallonie. It's a Charleroi. I didn't stay for very long. I was with Georges Lefebvre, and it was an eventful time. We toured the world, we did a lot of things, but it wasn't exactly my happiest place.
Yes, he was an excellent choreographer and director, but he was very tough.
I think the truth has to be told. People talk in innuendo, and I feel it's also important to have directors who are not reliant on chemicals.
Yes, I agree.
And it was very difficult working in an environment where one didn't quite know who was going to walk in the next day.
Yes.
And I think things have changed. But I also believe that we have a cloak of silence, that we don't discuss the impact of addiction.
Yes. So you have been working at Ballet de Flandre, Wallonie?
Yes. And then I went with Uwe Schultz
to
the Zurich Opera House.
Good.
And I was there. I was working with Uwe. I was there with incredible dancers.
Yes.
And it was quite fun that some of my classmates from Monte Carlo and I met up in Zurich again. So it was a full circle. They'd come from Stuttgart because Uwe Schultz was from Stuttgart. So we had a lot of connection with the dancers from Stuttgart, Marcia Heidi, Richard Cragun. Birgit Karl, they were all guesting all the time, even Maria, they were all coming, Vladimir Derevianko. We had this whole situation in Zurich. It was very exciting. It was his first company. He had just started. He was this Wunderkind. And we did some very exciting ballets. We did his Rachmaninoff, we did his Schaubfunk, we did Octet. He created all his very exciting work on us. And that was once again my happy place, making new ballets. And I was very, very blessed. He was a friend of mine and we were very close. And he was a genius and very difficult, not easy. But it was a time in our lives that we were all young and hyperactive and very inspired.
So you had a wonderful artist to work with since you were very young. And traveling in all these countries, so that means that you speak how many languages?
Well, not well, but it's all a mess. But I can communicate and can be understood in English, Afrikaans, Dutch, Flemish, French, and German.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite
all like this. And Yiddish. Please don't forget Yiddish. And no one in Israel speaks Yiddish, which is a big shock for me. So it's a big mess of languages, but I like people, so I find a way to communicate.
Yes. And so far, what you have said, mentioned, you have been dancing. When did you started saying, I wish to teach or to choreograph?
Well, that was an interesting thing. I was 16 years old. I just got my teacher's diploma, my associate in Czechety, and I said to I was ready to become a teacher. I was a born teacher. I loved teaching.
Yes.
And my teacher asked me, so what are you going to do? So I said, I'm going to start teaching. She says, what are you going to teach? You don't know anything. I said, but she says, all you know is what I've told you. You have to go out and learn what it means to dance, and then you can start teaching.
That's correct, yeah.
So off I went, but I used to return every year, and I used to teach the studio and students, and I've always been teaching. My whole life I've been a teacher. When I retired, I went back to South Africa, and I began teaching in the colored communities.
Yes.
And in the black townships in apartheid South Africa.
Yeah.
I went and I taught in a primary school called Choreographer Park. Yeah. And then I also taught in Dromedaris and Goedehoop. These are 3 primary schools in a place called Choreographer Park.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting, and I developed quite a few dancers from that background who are now all teaching in that area, so that gives me pleasure. I also taught in Alexander, Soweto, and Kayaliche, mm-hmm. which are all black townships, mm-hmm. and I went in and worked, and then another place called Bosmont, another township.
Yeah.
And then I opened a studio in Orange Grove where my black students would come to me. They started dancing. And so I created that kind of an environment well before the change in South Africa.
Yeah.
And as the change happened, I just carried on. I created a company, a school called Ballet Theatre African. And it grew, and the dancers got older. It was a youth company. And from a youth company, the youth do something scary. They get old. And once they get older, I turned it into a professional company.
Yes.
And we performed all over the country, as well as we toured off to Holland. We did different things, and we were busy, yes.
And how did the the South African society got the idea that a white man would teach and develop something for the black society during the apartheid or after the apartheid?
Well, I was taken to heart by the children. I was taken to heart by the parents, and I wasn't taking anything away from anybody. I heard once that blacks can't do ballet. And I listened to this and I thought, aha, you're right. South African blacks can't do ballet. What are the reasons? The reasons are they don't get good teachers, they don't have opportunity, they don't have access to performances, they don't get access into the theatre, they don't grow up with it as a normal thing. So I decided, yeah, okay, so I have to address that. So my new generation, I took to the theatre, I took them to the symphony, I took them everywhere. I took them on tour, I took them, in Yiddish we say I schlepp them via Ketzelach. I dragged them around like little kittens with me for many, many years. And as a result, they grew up in the theatre. They grew up in the buses, they grew up in hotels, they grew up in aeroplanes. And guess what? To this day, they are still doing it. They are still performing all over the world. And it gives me great pleasure. But it took a leap of faith for their parents to trust this man to care for their children. And in ballet, something they've never heard of. What's ballet? It's the new South Africa. The kids can do anything. Why do they need to do ballet? Well, they're in love with ballet. And even the ones that didn't become ballet dancers, the discipline, the background, the experience, the love, all went into them and has made them into very successful human beings, regardless of what career they've embarked upon.
Yes. So you were one of those who developed the love for the art of ballet within the Black society in South Africa.
Well, blacks, yes, coloreds, whites, Afrikaans, everybody. I have a saying, the more you sweat, the more equal you get. Sweat equity. So all my kids knew they could get ahead if they were good enough, if they worked enough, if they put in the hours, if they were dedicated, they would get the reward. End of story. So the way our Ballet Theatre African or BTA ran. And I had a marvelous woman by my side. Her name is Paula Kelly. And Paula Kelly was my administrative director. And the two of us were in the trenches together. I was on the artistic side, she was on the administrative side. Our learning curve was very, very sharp. And we went through a lot. And without her, I would never have been able to have done what I achieved. She was really a staunch supporter all those years.
Yes. Which year was it when you worked with the Ballet Africain?
I started in 1990.
1990.
Yes, and I continued through until 2008.
Do you miss South Africa?
That's a very tricky question. I miss people I love. I have people I love all over the world. And as a country, the country that I lived in doesn't exist anymore. So I'd rather remember it as it was and move forward.
Yes.
That which is behind us made us who we are, but we can't look backwards and live in nostalgia.
Yes.
I'm very proud of what I did.
Yes.
It is part of who I am.
Yes.
And I get the most beautiful letters from people all the time, saying thank you and remembering this with love. But I'm busy with my third act, as I say. My first two acts were great. My first act was a professional one. Second act was as a director, as a choreographer, as a teacher. And my third act is in Eretz Israel. It's in Israel. I have always been a Zionist. I'm Jewish. I come from, my family's name is Schonberg. They come from Vienna. They, unfortunately, most of them perished. It's a reality that is part of who I am. It's always been who I am. And so to make Aliyah was something very important for me, to come back to Israel. It's the most frightening coming back I've ever experienced, because I've visited Israel my entire life, but as a tourist. And then visiting with dance exposure, I was looking at different productions. But living here is nothing like being a tourist. And so they say, if you do something new, you keep the brain alive and you can ward off Alzheimer's. Well, trust me, I'm on a very sharp learning curve here, because there's no such thing as comfortable on any level. And I'm talking artistically. I'm talking life. I'm talking everything about it. It's very confronting. I was always comfortable in Zurich. I love Vienna. When I go home, it's my Heimat. I'm happy with Paris. I love Europe. I'm happy in Europe. Right now, I'm living in the Middle East. It's very confronting, and I'm still absorbing it all. The personalities, the values, the work ethic, the students, they're very different. They're lovely. They're wonderful kids, but they are from the Middle East. They have a different mindset, and I'm busy trying to adjust to all of this.
Well, of what I have seen some videos who are really beautiful about some performances and some classes of the Jerusalem Ballet. You have a tremendous amount of talent. Those dancers are really very good. So how did you initiate working with the Jerusalem Ballet?
I didn't. It was beshirt. It was written, because I started off living in Beersheba, and I was working in Beersheba, and that's in the south. And I was trying to do something there. It was, and then I met a group of people who wanted me to kind of be their répéteur, to help them improve their production that they were premiering. And so I traveled through to Herzliya and worked with them, this company. It was a lovely experience, and I managed to really get them around a corner, and that was fun. And they then introduced me to Nadya. They were doing, his name is Ego, and Ego introduced me to Nadya because he was doing a production of a new full-length ballet. And he wanted to help him create that work. But when I started to work with Nadya, it was immediate. We had a mutual respect. We had a mutual vision. We both love the dance. We are both pedagogues. We are both interested in new ways. We're interested in trying other things. And there was an immediate respect. She has wonderful pedigree. She comes from a lifetime in the Bolshoi. It is not my favorite Bolshoi. We always joke about it. My favorite is the Kirov, the style, and the Bolshoi is not my favorite. But and Nadya and I often talk about that. But We respect each other. We can argue with each other. That's very important. We
Yes.
argue every day, but with respect.
Yes.
So it's a dynamic relationship. And with a dynamic relationship comes good things. It's healthy and positive. So it happened very, very quickly that, and one day she said, Martin, what are you doing in Beersheba? What are you doing? Come to your family, come here. So it took me a while, but she made a place for me. She brought me into her family and we started working. I repeat, it's not easy. It's not utopia. It's very, very confronting. And every day is confronting. We're dealing with issues that I would never have expected that we have to deal with. Philosophical problems, problems about Chagim, which are the holidays. Yes. Lots and lots of religious holidays that block you from working. That type of thing. Yeah. So it's a daily learning curve for me. Yeah. But we are happy growing them. Yeah. And Nadya works in that style, that very strong school. Yeah. And I have my way. And I believe, and so does Nadya, and so do the kids, believe that the two are coming together nicely because we're both looking at the same direction. Yes. As a choreographer, she's created many works in this company, and they are not technical works. They are above all narrative ballets. Yes. They tell powerful stories. Yes. And that's one of my strengths, that I'm able to help the dancers on a dramatic level, on the mise en scène, the way they act and the way they interpret their roles. Yeah. As much as I like to work on the physical muscles and all of that, in the rehearsal, it comes upon me to build the characterization, which is very difficult, but it's very enriching. Yes. And it's what to do what you are saying now. You have really to know each individual who is on stage and the character of the person, which is not easy because each dancer has a different character, has a different soul, has a different way to think also. So what you are doing, you are opening the heart of each one on stage. And this is what makes a beautiful choreography afterwards. Do you know, we just did a performance of Memento, choreography of Nadya's. Yes. And we had Holocaust survivors in the audience. Mm. And after that performance, you only know if you are successful by the reaction of the public. Yes. And well, in a good way, they were broken. The dancers had managed to tell their story in such a way that they were so deeply touched. And who can want more than that? Well, this is the top of the success, because when you are able to touch the heart of the audience, you have an important key in your hand. Exactly. Exactly. And this is where the company is going now. Yeah. This is a place, Nadya's been busy with Houdini. Yes. And, you know, it's all well and good you have a good story. Yes. But if the story is not able to be understood and able to get the audience to invest into that moment, that hour and a half in the theatre where they are carried along in a narrative and that they understand the dialogue. Yes. That's the most important part. Yes, I like to choreograph. Yes, I like to teach. Yes, I like to design sets and costumes. I like it all. But when I'm busy on one thing, I'm very masculine in my tunnel vision.
Yes.
I'm totally obsessed with the outcome, and I don't look right or left. It's just
one line,
that.
only one line. Yes.
Yes.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So, do you, Mrs. Nadia and you, do you sometimes cooperate in the choreography? I mean, if you see something that maybe in your mind would be better to do, does Nadia accept your ideas, or it must be her choreography?
The opposite. I'm in the studio next door working, and she walks in and she says, "Excuse me, come." And I have to stop my rehearsal and come.
Yes.
She shows me, she says, "What do you think? Do you like it? You don't like it? Must that change?"
Yes.
So she is very collaborative. She's very open-minded. She's
Good.
very eager to
Yes.
have a different perspective.
Yes. Well, I think that Nadia is a volcano of wonderful ideas, because she's an exceptional woman. And the little that I met her on the interview, her last interview, but I feel that as also you, both together are making of Jerusalem Ballet something exceptional.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Because Jerusalem Ballet is not very well known in Europe. It's known, yes, in Israel, it's known maybe in South Africa, in other places, but in Europe, no. People have no idea, and have no idea of the talent that is. Because I have seen also some other ballet companies or dance companies in Israel. They also do wonderful work. They have wonderful dancers. But I think that Israel, in the world of ballet, is a little bit put aside. It should be more highlighted, more, just to show the talent and the quality of the performance.
I agree with you. I agree, but I'm learning. I'm learning why. And there's a political aspect to this.
Yeah.
In how Israel was created. And so from the beginning of Israel, contemporary dance was thriving, and this striving towards the avant-garde and the new, and the theatre of the people, as opposed to elitist, exclusive, as they viewed classical ballet. This is changing, obviously, because so many people have come to Israel now from, for example, Russia, from Ukraine, from Australia, South Africa, Canada, Brazil, America. They're coming from all over the world. So it's a mixture. So they all enjoy a variety of artistic endeavors. So previously we had the really, really strong contemporary dance. But I think the time has come, as you said, for classical ballet, well, classical-based ballet. Because I don't see us ever becoming a repertory company and doing Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty. Although, having said that, we do them.
Yes.
But that's not our raison d'être. It's not why we exist. We exist to use the classical technique to tell stories.
Yes. But you do it on your own style and way to create performances.
Yes, but then again, our last performance for the school was a full-length Don Quixote.
Yes.
So I created a lot of original work. Nadia took a lot of pieces from the traditional petit pas, and we presented that. And at the end of this year, we're going to do another petit pas ballet. We're already rehearsing, so the dancers are getting tapped into clean, pure classical technique while still exploring neoclassical and contemporary idioms.
Yes. So you grew up with the Cecchetti method.
Cecchetti and RAD were my first two methods.
Yes. Now, working with Nadya Timofeyeva and probably also with Marika Bezobrazova, you probably got familiar with the Vaganova.
Let me tell you, when I was with Marika, I learned the Vaganova, but with a very strong French feeling. Marika had a big influence with the Paris Opera. All her students went there. It was a very strong fit. And many of the dancers from l'Opéra came to Monte Carlo to work, as did people from all over the world. Then I was in Antwerp, and our ballet master was Andrei Prokofiev. So, and he was straight from Tolstoy.
Andrei Prokofiev.
Andrei Prokofiev. And he, do you know him? He's a well-known teacher, and it's like in those times, the Soviet style, very Soviet, and I did that for a number of years with him every day, all the time. And then when he left, we had Wojtek Wojtek from Poland. He brought in more taste, more refinement. And so then I went to Zurich, and it was all American ballet, you know, very, very American, overcrossed, fast.
With a fast enchaînement.
Exactly, as well as in Antwerp, we worked with Papa Beryasov often. He used to come and work with us. I don't know if you know this name, Papa Beryasov.
No, I heard, but I never met.
And he did the Bournonville school with us. So at this point in my life, I kind of, and then in South Africa, while working in South Africa, I decided that I wanted to know the Vaganova method better. So I brought a friend of mine, her name is Judith Rain-Strew, who had done the whole methodology with Marika for 6 years, and then had worked with Martin Putka for many, many years. And Judith came and took me through the entire program from year one to Année d'Excellence. And I worked with her every morning, and she stayed for many months, and I worked privately with her. So yeah, I've taken, now the way I teach is a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't believe that one methodology has the answer. I think each methodology has got great value, and I like to take the best of all of them.
Yes, I agree also, because if you work only on one methodology, it's good, but like you say, it's more complete when you take the best of each one and you mix the whole thing. So you have been creating your own syllabus now when you teach during class.
Well, I created, actually, funny you say that, but when I was in South Africa, the government asked me to create a syllabus. And I created that syllabus, I put the music together, I did the notes, we filmed it, and I gave it to them. And then I looked at the syllabus and I went, you know what? This is quite good. I'm going to use it. I started using that syllabus, and with that syllabus, I created a whole generation of dancers that work all over the world, from Washington Ballet to the Royal Ballet in London to all over. They're all over from that syllabus. So now I teach ballet. I
Yes.
teach a tendu. I teach a demi-plie. I
Mm.
teach the basics.
Yes.
As opposed to the shishi of style, I try to keep to the purest form of it. Try to make it dynamic, try to make it musical,
Yes.
try to make it placed, try to make it understood.
Yes.
So that I find it problematic when I see a dancer dancing with a style that is superimposed onto everything.
Yes.
I enjoy to watch the style of the choreographer coming out.
Yes.
I don't want to see the style of the school superimposed onto the choreographer.
I agree. Yes.
So when I'm seeing Balanchine, I want to see Balanchine. I don't want to see a different look to that. When I'm seeing something like Bournonville, I want to see the modest style of that. I don't want to see a Bolshoi style to the Balanchine. And then when you're doing something petit pas, I want to see the nuances of that. And so sometimes when I see the Cicchetti students, that they're only standing with their head falling off like this, or the other ones standing with their heads like this, I worry that there's a style is superimposed onto them, as opposed to an instrument to now express.
Yes. Yes. And did you ever encounter, I'm referring to the Jerusalem Ballet School, did you ever encounter some problems with some parents who don't understand the idea of ballet?
Well, I think we do, but I don't speak Hebrew yet. Well, they have to talk to Nadia about that. I don't deal with that. They can't bring those problems with me. And even when they're speaking English to me, I go, I don't understand, Nadia, because parents are okay. This is my philosophy. If you want a successful student, you need three things. One, you want the dedication, desire, ability coming from the student. Two, you have to have the support from the family. And three, you have to have the knowledge of the teacher and the willingness to do what they need to do for that student.
Exactly.
When one of these three things are absent, not good things happen. If the parents are pulling in an opposite direction, the teachers don't have the knowledge, the student doesn't want to do it, you're not going to succeed. You need all three at the same time.
Yes.
And I must say the parents here, so far, have been very supportive. If their children are happy to do it, they are happy to support.
Yeah. So this is a good point, a very good point, because I agree. Parents are very important for the study of ballet to their children. And you make an examination every year?
Well, not in the past. Nadya works through her program, but this year we're going to be doing examinations. I feel it's very important that the students do assessing every 3 months, and then at the end of the year they do their performance. But do work through Nadya's program and now with me as well. So we have a faculty of 7 teachers.
Good, very good.
So, and we have our contemporary teachers, and we have our hip-hop teachers, we have our ballet teachers. We're all working together.
Like a big family. You all work like in a big family.
Well, we try, but sometimes it's more like ships that pass in the night sometimes because our schedules are so demanding.
Yes. So how many hours do you work in a day? I mean, all of you.
That's different. Some people work full day and other people have their classes that they come in and they teach their class. Because I teach, it's a new thing for Jerusalem, but I teach a body conditioning class in the morning. Every morning. I start at 7 o'clock. And then we have company class at 9:30. Nadia and I alternate. She does 3 a week, I do 3 a week company classes. And then we have rehearsals up till 4 o'clock with the company.
Good.
At 4 o'clock, we begin with our school. The school comes in, they come from school, and we do our evening classes. So they begin from 4 until around 8:30 at night. Sometimes Nadia and I stay right late. Sometimes it depends on the day.
It depends, yes. So, do you ever have in mind maybe one day to make a new choreography?
Yes, as I said, I created Don Quixote. I did quite a few pieces in there. And Nadia wants me to. Yes, I want to. So I will. I'm already talking about something that I have in the back of my head. I don't talk about it too soon. I want to make it happen before I start talking. But it's something biblical, something connected to Israel. I think it's time. But I also want to invite a friend of mine. Her name is Adele Blanc from that was her on the phone, I'm sorry. Adele Blanc, we created a ballet called Windows, which it would be an interesting insight into doing here. So I've done something like 8 full-length ballets in South Africa. So I've done a few.
During class, do you use piano music?
Unfortunately not. That is my big, big ambition. I want to get a live pianist. We use, unfortunately, music, recorded music. And that is my great sadness. That is the first thing that I want to see change.
But is it difficult to find a pianist in Israel who could play for
the easiest thing in the world? We have got so many Russian pianists, Ukrainian pianists. We have all these talented musicians everywhere. We have a budget restraint. So
you have to follow the budget.
Exactly. We have to be very discerning about where we're going to spend what. Because
maybe you could make 1 or 2 classes per week, not regularly, but at least with the piano, in order that the dancers get familiar, because it's completely different when you do a ballet class with a pianist than with the tape recorder.
I agree. No argument. I agree 100%. There's no question. I personally grew up with a pianist. I only knew from my youngest age to have a piano. Her name was Mrs. Peterson, and I loved her.
Because with the pianist, you can tell her just go slower, just repeat the tempo. In this movement, just end up, with only four bars of music. So you can, but with the tape recorder, you cannot do that. You have to follow the tempo of the tape recorder.
But more importantly, there's something inside the artist's soul that wakes up.
Yes, I agree. I agree, because the pianist knows how to bring alive this music that comes out from the fingers while she or he is playing. While the tape recorder is beautiful also, but it's very restricted, you know? It's very restricted.
It is what it is.
Martin, the whole world now, the heart and the eyes are directed in the Middle East, in Israel, and all around. Of course, what I'm going to ask now, as you may know, Ballet International topics is only dance, ballet, and performing arts. So we never talk about politics, politicians. We never give our personal opinions on what we feel, our heart feels about the events that happened recently in Israel a few days ago. Of course, those events are very sad, are very dramatic, and the pictures and the photos that we have seen and the videos are really terrible. But now that you are working in every day for the Jerusalem Ballet, how you what is your role, artistic director or associate?
Associate artistic director. I work together with Nadya.
Okay, so you both with Nadya, how do you cope to encourage the students to may I say, to react positively towards such a difficult situation that now Israel is having?
I'm not a good person to ask because I'm a master of suppressing emotions. When things like this happen, I go into a very stoic stance. I button up, straighten up, and I go into my childhood where I was raised.
Yes.
And I am not good and I'm not comfortable.
Yes.
Dealing with all the emotions that are happening.
Yes.
It's possibly a good thing and it's possibly a bad thing. But I, at my age, realized it's my thing. It is how I am. So it's not good or bad. It's how I respond to things.
Yes.
And in a situation like this, Nadya deals with everything very differently. After all, she's been living here for 30 years.
Yes.
I'm not used to dealing with the personality types in Israel.
Yes.
I'm used to being a stiff upper lip, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I understand.
And so I must be honest, that is how I deal with it. And the dancers around are, I think, grateful also to come into an environment where I don't discuss anything that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We come to the studio and we work.
Yes.
And for a period of time, we're just concentrating on our bodies, on our work, on our technique. They are able to focus their energy, time, and attention onto something constructive rather than dealing with reality, because the reality is frightening. And there's a single person in the world that cannot be impacted by what is happening. But it doesn't help us falling to pieces. We have to pull ourselves to ourselves, and in the interests of the kids, to keep things going, to keep some kind of a structure going. That doesn't mean to dishonor what has been going on around us. But kids need to feel some sense of continuity.
Yes. Yes.
That's
But now, how is the situation in Jerusalem? Can people walk in the streets? Can they go to do shopping? Can they buy food? How is it?
everything is absolutely normal, excepting nobody is running around in the street. People go out to work. People then go home.
Yeah,
People go to blood drives.
yeah,
People get on with what they're doing. There's no entertainment and there is no performances
yes,
and there are no school
yes,
because they want to keep the children safe.
yes,
But banks and businesses and everything is working, subdued. Everybody is extremely cautious
yes,
and subdued. Next week, we start a cycle of performances with Jerusalem Ballet. We'll be going to various places that people have been evacuated to in order to perform and to lift the spirits and
yes,
to perform for the children and
yes,
even the hospitals and things. So next week we have lined up
yes,
something every day. So the dancers will come in for their morning class and then they will get into makeup and costume. We will travel to a facility, hopefully to make some joy and happiness for some people whose lives have been impacted. And that is how we are trying to keep
Well,
things.
I think this is the best way to keep people heart, to cheer up people, because people need to be more confident and more happy. And it's only with performances, it's only with ballet, it's only with beautiful things that you cheer up people.
At the moment, I don't think we're going to cheer anyone up, but I think
No,
for a little time we can distract them from
it
the
will take,
reality.
it will
Just
take time. It will take time to cheer
yes,
up people, because now everybody is scared to talk, is scared to give opinion, is scared to get out from home, and is scared to pick up a normal life again, because it's difficult. But the thing is that today you are having this situation in Israel, but this could happen anywhere in the world, unfortunately. And it's always the performing art who is paying the hardest tribute, and also the population. So people are not enjoying life as it was years and years ago, which is a shame, because after all, it's performing art who gives light, who gives happiness, who gives all the joy that we can have in our heart. And when you touch this with a war or with anything terrible that happened, you destroy everything. But I'm sure that when the wheel goes down, I say mentally, you are obliged to go up again. So I'm sure that the people and the population in Israel, and I really wish that everybody finds peace and also get to a normal type of life again.
Jean-Pierre, I agree with you. Just want to tell you something about my character.
Yes.
I read a lot, and I'm very interested in politics. I'm very interested in history, and I'm very well informed.
Mhm.
I make it my business to know as much as I can at any given point.
Mhm.
I absorb this information and I am alert to all of it. I, however, very seldom talk about it.
Yeah.
It is something I carry within me, and I'm informed. I have my perspective, and I always show what I believe in by how I live.
Yes, I agree.
And I live here in Israel. I made Aliyah. That means I am here. My roots are here. Every single year, I don't know how many prayers, every Friday night we say our prayers, and it says next year in Jerusalem. God willing, next year in Jerusalem. Well, look, I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere.
So how many years now you are in Israel?
I only came last year. I came in April. Yeah, it's all very, very new for me. I was in Cape Town for 11 years. I was living in Constantia, and I was teaching there. I had a studio called The White Box, and I was preparing dancers for the professional career. I was working with professional dancers who wanted to retrain or rehabilitate.
Yeah.
So I was working very intensely and intensively. They called me the panel beater.
Yeah.
I'd take things and fix them and then send them on their way again. And then I decided it's time to do the last thing, and that's this.
Well, in 1 year, you have done so many things.
Yes.
It's incredible how many things you have done in 1 year, because I thought you were in Israel from already 5, 6 years.
Jean-Pierre, I arrived in Israel, and on day 4, I was on a jury for an international ballet competition.
Wow.
So it was, yeah, I'm a little bit of a...
So you are a well-organized artist and person, because you study well how to move and how to make people move.
Well, thank you. I'll take it.
Have you, I will formulate the same question I did to Nadia. Do you think once the situation will be better and everything will be safe and life will come back to normal, do you think you would ponder out the idea to create an international ballet competition inviting all dancers from Europe?
This is a thought, but I don't personally hold that as an ambition.
Yes.
I think it's a good thing we have lots and lots of ballet competitions happening.
Yes.
I'm not too sure if there's not a glut, an excess of ballet competitions now. Every time I turn around, there's another ballet competition.
Yes.
And the really big ones are gone.
Yes.
Makes me sad because there was the Paris International Ballet Competition, and it's gone. And some of the really big ones are gone. And there are so many jumping up all over the place.
Yes.
I understand that the dancers need an opportunity to get onto a stage and be seen by a jury. I understand that. And I see the value of it, and I'm not saying no, not at all. I think what I want to see is in the Jerusalem Ballet, we started already this year, and next year it's going to be even bigger. This year we did a 1 week, sorry, I beg your pardon, 2-week summer school. But next year we are doing a 3-week summer school.
Good.
Which I want it to culminate in performance. Next year, I want a 6-week summer school. And I want it to end with a proper performance.
That would be
I want dancers to come from all over the world. I would like them to experience Israel, tour Israel, go to the Dead Sea, go to Tel Aviv, go up to the Sea of Galilee, go to Eilat, experience everything in Israel, as well as to work with an international faculty.
Good.
Nadya knows great teachers. I know great teachers. Together we can put together something dynamic that the dancers could come here, spend 6 weeks here, really leave with something solid, and possibly also have the opportunity to audition for us, as well as the other dance companies in Israel. And if other directors are involved, to also come and see that.
Yes.
Because competition shows you what you can do with a variation that you've been working on for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's a perfect variation.
Yeah.
Directors want to see how you're going to work quickly. You don't have time to polish a variation for 4 years. They want to see whether you take corrections, whether you are versatile, whether you have a personality that fits into a company, that you are sociable, that you are friendly, that you're cooperative.
Exactly.
So I think that is something that you don't see in a competition, that you do see when a student is with you for an extended amount of time. You see their character, you see their values, you see their work ethics, you see things that you wouldn't necessarily see. And it's not always the best variation that's going to make a career.
Yes, I understand.
Just because you get up and look like that doesn't mean you're going to get on with everybody. You've worked in a company, it's a collaboration. Every day you see the same faces. Every day you have a ballet master and your director, and you have to work with these people.
I understand your idea, and I agree, because, for instance, it's a little bit like the Prix de Lausanne. You see the best dancers doing only variation, but sometimes you see them on stage doing a warm-up or the ballet class, but this is it. But what you said now is different, because there is an atmosphere that you can discover the great value of each dancer, of each teacher. And that is the most important than a beautiful technical variation, you see? Because Swan Lake variation, many people do it. Some people do it in a good way. Some people, technically, they are not very strong. But you cannot analyze someone who is dancing a Swan Lake variation. You can analyze the person while the person is doing class, during rehearsal, how she behaves. And, you know, this is something that surrounds the technique. So this is why I agree with you. I totally agree. Martin, we are nearly reaching the end of our interview, and I wish to say to the audience who is watching this wonderful interview that is not every day that you can have the privilege, the honor to have an important artist as Martin Schonberg, who accepted, beside all the problems that are in Jerusalem, in Israel, who accepted to say, yes, I do the interview, because other people in such situation would say, no, I cannot do it. So that, in other words, translate your strong discipline and your strong will, because you are a man who decide to do something, you do it. And this is what I appreciate. It's not the fact that, yes, of course, it's the fact that you have been doing the interview, but it's more the fact that you have said, yes, I do it no matter the problems. I do the interview. And this, for me, counts much more than the interview itself.
Thank you. Thank you.
You see, because you are a strong man, and your strength, you are trying to communicate to all the young artists who are working with you, and you are the person of great support and help for the Jerusalem Ballet and the performing arts in Israel and maybe in other ballet companies. So keep always that strong will, that strong discipline, and that this strong love that you have built it in your soul for the youngest generation, because it's a precious thing that you have.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Martin, before we end up, what is your wish for the world of ballet of today?
You know, ballet is but a mirror of society, and it reflects society as it changes. Sometimes society is up, sometimes not so up. And we have to accept the reality that society is being reflected on stage. I have my taste in theatre, but with media, with Facebook, with TikTok, with Instagram, everything has become very instant. And it's all about the flashy.
Mm-hmm.
If it grabs the attention, then it's the good thing. So if the legs are there, and if the jump is flying, and if you have padded your arch to that, and just the excess of it doesn't please me. I've said this many times. If I have to choose between a diamond and a pearl, I will go with a pearl every time. I love the glow, the understated, the beauty of that, as opposed to the flashy of the other. Don't get me wrong, there's a place for the flashy,
yeah.
But I will go with the understated and the le bon goût, the good taste, and less in your face, less bashing, fewer turns. I mean, some of my dancers that I adored, Marcia Heidi, are just glorious. Dancers that were able to transcend the technique and not simply be buried underneath the technique. And all you saw was the technique, but you saw a human being expressing something.
Yes.
So my wish for ballet is to have those artists coming out that are able to, yes, they have to master the technique, but now say something, please. Break my heart, please. Get up on that stage and make me remember why I love going to the theatre. When I walk away, I want to feel, I don't know, Anna Karenina, I want to feel Juliette, I want to feel something. I don't want to just see another flashy body doing 12, 20, 100 pirouettes. You are old enough as I am to know that pirouettes are not new. We had Joyce Cuoco going. We had Catherine Healy turning for days. Yeah. We had Galina Panova spinning for days. It's nothing new. And legs up here. I myself have the legs up here. It's not enough. Yeah. It's not enough. You need to touch us emotionally. Yeah. And that's what I want to see.
It's a beautiful thing that you have said now, and I totally agree. I totally agree. Well, we have only 2 or 3 years difference.
Yes, we are very similar, same generation.
Yes.
I'm
So
60 this year.
you are 60.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm 64.
Okay, we are close, same generation.
Yes, yes, yes. I was born in 1959, so you are much younger than me, and but you know, age is just a number, just a number. You know,
It's a high number.
all depends how we feel. But what gives us energy, even if sometimes there are days that you feel that your body is not coping, is the world of art and dance. Because there are some days that mentally and physically I'm not able to cope, and I don't feel. And but then I to look to something beautiful about dance, not flashy, just a pearl, not a diamond, and that gives me energy. And I listen to a lot of music because I'm very sensible to the music. So
Me
music
too.
is also a good medicine for to be in good health.
Agreed, me too.
Yes, because without music, no one of us can dance. You need music. You need good music. And today I think that good musicians are a little bit missing in our modern society.
But there are those, because another thing, I have had season tickets for the symphony
Yes,
for 50 years. I have gone to every symphony performance. I go to concerts. It's a love affair of mine. And there are some wonderful young musicians out there. There are some
good.
very, very wonderful people. I went to a concert not so long ago of Martha Aldrich here,
Yes,
and she played Prokofiev.
yes,
And you know, most times you play the Prokofiev and it's like this.
yes.
She played it. I was in tears with such delicacy, such sensitivity. So it's there. You have to go looking. You have to find it. It's there.
You have to make some research also to the
Yes,
people who are playing.
yes, yes.
Martin, we have reached the end of our interview because otherwise the people who will follow this interview, they will start complaining that my interviews are too long. So we are obliged to stop. Do you agree and do you accept if I may upload your interview on YouTube on Ballet International channel?
Absolutely. I'm so honored that you agreed to interview me, invited me, and I'm happy to share.
Well, you know why I did this? It's just to give a good lesson to the rest of the world that when when there are artists like you, like Nadia, like great other artists who have been interviewed already, people need to listen to each one history, to each one experience. When you are on Facebook, you have in a group about 5,000 people, but you don't know who they really are, what they really do in ballet. You see important names, but nobody is aware of their experience, of their life, of their daily life, of their daily suffering, of their daily difficulties. So it is important for ballet society because we are all one family in ballet, in dance. It is important to listen, to learn, because sometimes by listening to someone, it could be inspiring, enriching, and you learn a lot. Now, listening to you, I have been learning a lot of things also, because I must admit my great ignorance in many things. So
No, you're a
thanks
educated
to,
man.
thanks to your knowledge, thanks to your interview, and thanks to what you have described and the way that you have described things, now I have a different view of what I was before the interview.
I'm pleased. Thank you. Thank you, Jean-Pierre.
And the same applies also for Nadia, because both of you are really precious artists. Okay.
Thank you very
much. So you stay online a little minute.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for watching this beautiful interview, and please pass on the link to many people, because people have to listen to this interview and to many other, which is very important. It's really something special. It was a special edition interview that we have made today. So thank you very much, Martin, and thank you all of you for watching this video. One moment.